Today we're going to be looking at graphing quadratics in three different forms. Vertex form we've already covered. We're going to be looking at standard form and intercept form. Okay, you're familiar with vertex form. That's our second one we're looking at here. So this is a quick review. Vertex form. Since A is equal to negative 1/4, which is negative, this is going to open down. The vertex is given by HK, so our vertex is negative 2, 5. The axis of symmetry is the x equals value, so x equals negative 2 is our axis of symmetry. All right, let's sketch this. So at negative 2, 5, all right, let's use our parent points. Now, because we have that axis of symmetry, we only really need to do half of this, and then we're going to reflect it. Here's our axis of symmetry coming down through this. Okay, so I'm going to look at 0, 1, 2, which is in a quadratic 0, 1, 4. Now, since I'm going to multiply this, my A is negative 1/4. This gives me 0, negative 1/4, and negative 1 as my new values. Okay, so I can graph, so from there I'm moving right 1 down 1/4 and right 2 down 1. And then I just need to reflect them because of that axis symmetry. Okay, so this quadratic looks like this. Alright, so that was vertex form. Now let's look at a new form. This is standard form. So in standard form, the vertex, you need to memorize this formula, can be found by the opposite of B over 2A. Now in standard form, we're thinking about this, where A, B, and C are real numbers. Now to find the y value, once we found the x value, we're just going to substitute it back in for x and find our corresponding y value. The y-intercept is C. So 0C is always on our parabola. So let's practice this. Alright, so the vertex. The vertex is found by B as x is equal to the opposite of B over 2A. So B in this case is 3 over 2 times negative 2. So negative 3 over negative 4. So our x value is 3/4. To find our y value, we plug it back into the original equation. So negative 2 times 3/4 squared plus 3 times 3/4 plus 1. Okay, let's figure that out. Okay, I plugged that into a calculator and I got y is equal to 17/8. Which is 2 1/8 when I go to graph it. Okay, so my vertex is going to be 3/4, 17/8. My y-intercept is 0, 1. And my axis symmetry is going to be x equals 3/4. Alright, let's graph what we've got. So we've got 3/4, 2 1/8. We've got 0, 1. Alright, let's get a couple more points from here. Parent graph's not going to do us that much because it's going to be hard to count from that weird vertex. So let's just plug in a value. We need something on the right-hand side. So let's plug in 2. Let's just plug in 2 into our graph. So I'm going to substitute, find out what y when x is equal to 2. Okay, so what does that give us? Put that in the calculator real quick. And I'm getting negative 1. So 2, negative 1 is a point. 2, negative 1. Okay, so my parabola is going to look like this. Do a better job of hitting that point than I did. Okay, Alright, let's try another one. Don't love that example. Okay, let's do this one. Alright, let's use our x is equal to the opposite of b over 2a. Well, here b is 0, so the opposite is 0 over 2 times 1. That's going to be 0 over 2, which is 0. Plug it in for y. We're going to get 0 squared plus 4, so y is 4. So the vertex is 0, 4. Alright, so 0, 4, which also 1, 2, 3, 4, which is also our y-intercept, so that doesn't help us any. Our axis of symmetry is x equals 0. Here we can use our parent points. So 0, 1, 2, so 0, 1, 4. A is 1, so we're not changing anything, so let's count. So 0, 0, 1, right 1, up 1, right 2, up 4 is not going to fit. We need points on the left, so we just reflect that point over our axis of symmetry. So here's our graph. Looks something like that, or looks exactly like that. Alright, so that's standard form. So basically you got to memorize that formula. X is equal to the opposite of b over 2a. And then you're going to have to find enough points to be able to graph it. Alright, the next form we're going to look at is intercept form. This just means to be an intercept form, it's been factored. So we can graph it. We don't have to change it back. We can graph it once it's been factored. Alright, a here is 2, and since it's positive, that means this thing opens up. Now, we want to find our zeros. Our zeros are 2 points on our graph. So to find our zeros, we set our factors equal to 0, using the zero product property. So that means that negative 3, 0 is a point on our parabola, and 1, 0 is a point on our parabola. So now all we need is the vertex, we've got our parabola. Now to find the vertex, notice that they're calling the factors p and q. So in this case, my p is negative 3, because remember this can be x minus a negative 3, and my q is equal to positive 1. So to find the vertex, we're going to use that formula. So x is equal to p plus q divided by 2. So negative 3 plus 1 divided by 2 is negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1. To find the corresponding y, you're going to plug in negative 1 into our original equation. Okay, so what is that? We get 2 times negative 2, so negative 8. So that means our vertex is negative 1, negative 8. Our axis of symmetry would be x equals negative 1. So negative 1, negative 8. And then we're going to graph negative 3, 0, and 1, 0. And there's our parabola. In vertex form. So, I'm sorry, not vertex form, intercept form. Okay, let's do another one. So here, alright, A is 1, so this thing opens up. My zeros, x equals 0, so one of my zeros is 0, 0, and then x minus 4 equals 0, so x equals 4. So 4, 0 is another point on my graph. Alright, vertex, p plus q divided by 2. In this case, p is 0, and q is 4. So 0 plus 4 divided by 2, so that's 2. To find the y, plug it back in. 2 times 2 minus 4, so that's 2 times negative 2, which is negative 4. So my second point, so my vertex is 2, negative 4. So let's graph it. 2, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Graph to 0, 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. Alright. And so there's my parabola. And actually it's going through these points too. The parent points can take over. Alright, so that's examples of the first three forms. Now, what if we want to change? You would have to move change from different form, change into standard form. We want to FOIL first. So let's FOIL this, x squared minus 4x minus 1x plus 4. Let's combine like terms, and then we'll distribute. All right, now let's just distribute our 1/2. And that's standard form. So now we're going to learn later on how to go backwards from standard form into the other forms. Because standard form is probably the hardest one to graph from. You have to do the most work to graph from standard form. So I'm going to show you how to go backwards later on. All right, let's practice another one. Here you want to FOIL first. So remember, this is going to be 4x squared plus 4x plus 1 minus 3. Distribute the negative 1. And now combine like terms. So y equals, now you're in standard form. Okay, that's it.